The 2024 Polyglot Gathering is brought to you by Glossica.
Hi guys, welcome to another session. Please remember about Slido. You can scan QR code right now, ask questions during the presentation, and then all answers will be at the end. And welcome to managing a multilingual academic community, an example of Vincent Pol University in Lublin, Poland.
Thank you very much. Well, multilingual and multicultural, these two are actually very closely related. So in my talk, I'm going to present a multinational and multilingual academic community of Vincent Pol University in Poland, which is actually one of the leading institutions, educational institutions in terms of internationalization, according to the rank published by a Polish journal, Perspektywy. At the beginning, I'm going to present the history of the university and its path to achieving its status of one of the most international institutions. Then I will characterize the institutional changes that have taken place in the university in order to cater for international students. And finally, I will present the activities that the international students can be involved in at the university, the things that we do to make them feel at home in Lublin. Vincent Pol University was established in 1999, so this year we are actually celebrating 25 years of existence. It is named after a famous Polish geographer and poet, Vincent Pol, who was born in Lublin, the city that we are based in, and, well, spent many years of his life there. What is important from the point of view of our today's meeting is that almost from the beginning of its existence, the university was very open for foreign students. Here you can see a monument located at the university premises. It's commemorating the patron, Vincent Pol. It's a big stone with a picture of Vincent Pol and a board with thanks from the academic community. Here are some basic facts and figures about the university. At the moment, the number of students studying at all degrees in all modes of studies and in 2 available languages amounts to about 7,000. So far, almost 25,000 graduates have completed their education in one of 14 available degrees. What is the most important for us today is the fact that students come from more than 50 different countries. As you can see, the number has even been highlighted. And you can imagine that the academic environment created by such people is quite unique in all respects, including the linguistic one. Because all those people who come to university, they bring with them not only English, which is the language of instruction, but of course they bring their own mother tongues and other languages that they speak. At the moment, about 2,086 foreigners study at Vincent Pol University. The graph here shows the rapid growth in the number of students over the years. As you can see, initially the numbers were not very big. Up until 2012, there were just individuals, mostly from Ukraine and Belarus, who had either lived in Poland already and learned about the university there, or found out about it in their own countries and decided to enroll. A first fast increase occurred in 2012 when Vincent Pol University started cooperations with Rivne State University in Ukraine. Both universities decided to run a joint program, the idea of which was that students from Ukraine could do half their modules in Ukraine and the other half in Poland, obtaining double degree. Those students constituted the first significant and organized group of international students that came to Vincent Pol University. Subsequently, students were recruited to do their whole courses in Poland. The only condition for them was that they had to speak Polish or take a preparatory language course. Nowadays, students from Ukraine and Belarus constitute a majority in many full-time programs taught in Polish. So people from the East, from Ukraine, from Belarus, they decide to study in Polish. They either know it already or they have to prepare for it before they start their studies. The first group of English-speaking students came to the university thanks to the 2+1 program run by VPU and the University of Northampton. So that was a long-awaited cooperation with a British university. And the idea of this 2+1 program was that students could do 2 years of their 3-year physiotherapy program in Poland and then move to Great Britain for the final year. And of course obtaining a double degree. So the first group of English-speaking students came to Poland in 2015. So as you can see, that's the second phase, the second big increase in the number of students. What's interesting is that after 2 years, after those 2 years in Poland, only 4 people decided to complete their studies in the UK. So the remaining majority, they wanted to continue the studies in Poland. And, well, I can guess that the difference in tuition fees between Polish university and British university, well, played an important role there. The 2+1 program was a great opportunity and actually a turning point in the history of Vincent Pol University, because it gave us an opportunity to benefit from the global position of British universities. So on their backs, so to speak, we were able to gain a position, a recognizable position on the international market. So basically, we would go to educational fairs, VPU representatives together with the representatives of the British universities, and once, the name of the country was mentioned, many doors became open for us as well. After Asia, which was the first initial target, a significant effort was put into establishing our brand in Africa, since there are many countries in which, just like in India, English is commonly used. So nowadays, most of our international students actually come from Africa, especially one country. You will see which one in a moment. And another factor that fostered the internationalization processes at the university was, of course, the Erasmus Plus program. VPU has always been a very active participant of the program, taking the opportunity to develop international contacts, send and receive students for exchanges and internships. Let us now look at some data regarding international students at VPU. First, the countries that they come from. As you can see, more than half of our students come from Zimbabwe. That is the country where we have the strongest position, and this is a direct consequence of the marketing campaigns that have been run in that country. And also, this is a great market for an institution that teaches in English, because, the students there speak English, right? So they don't have to take any extra exams, they don't have to show any certificates. The second and third biggest groups constitute still the students from Ukraine and Belarus, but they mostly choose to study in Polish, not in English. The remaining significant groups come from Nigeria, Egypt, Uzbekistan, France, and India. And the gray part in the chart is quite interesting because it includes students from the remaining 42 countries. So as you can see, the numbers of students coming from each country are not big, but together, they form a significant group. Now, let's look at the division into programs. And as you can see, most international students choose nursing. This is our bestseller, so to speak. And that's undoubtedly the most popular program taught in English at VPU. Secondly, there's physiotherapy, the program which has been taught for the longest. As you remember, the 2+1 program, that was the turning point and the starting point for the English curriculum was, initially for physiotherapy. Then there are business, which is popular with people from Uzbekistan, but also other countries. Tourism and hospitality management, and midwifery. Now the linguistic picture. Of course, all students who come to study to Vincent Pol have to speak Polish or English as their first language, or they have to provide a language certificate confirming their level of proficiency. That's an obvious condition to be enrolled. But as you might expect, the students can speak many languages, some of which are quite exotic. And the university actually does not collect precise data regarding their languages, with the exception of English and Polish. But for the purpose of this talk, a survey was conducted among our students who shared information regarding their languages, and over 1,000 answers were given, and you can see the results here on the slide. The numbers, first of all, the number of the languages that they declared was quite remarkable because it was about 30 languages that were declared by the students, and as you can see, the most commonly spoken language is Shona. This is one of the official languages of Zimbabwe. Then there are Slavic languages, Ukrainian, Russian, and the remaining languages, with the exception of Arabic and French, are all African languages spoken by various ethnic groups. Now that you can see the picture of the international academic community, let me discuss the ways in which the university had to adapt in order to cater for foreign students. And those adaptations have been divided into two categories. Firstly, there are the institutional adaptations, so the changes to the structure of the university. And secondly, there are various student activities, student projects that have been promoted by the university, the aim of which, of course, is to make students feel at home at Vincent Pol University. And, well, the major institutional change was, of course, the curriculum. With the advent of first English-speaking groups, the authorities decided to open the so-called English path of studies, which means that every student who decides to start their education at Vincent Pol can choose whether they want to learn exclusively in Polish or in English. And both paths are equal. Both lead to the same result, that is the final degree, but the classes in each path are taught 100% in a given language. Of course, the Polish path was popular with students from Ukraine and Belarus, so they, with their knowledge of the language and their, let's say, ease of learning Polish language, they were able to take it up. But the English path became also very popular with other nationalities. So let us have a brief look at the programs that can be studied at Vincent Pol 100% in English. So first there is nursing, which is our most popular degree, like I said, especially among students from Zimbabwe. They find it very attractive, and once they finish the degree, they very often decide to go to other English-speaking countries or return back home to work, basically. So the idea of having a European Union degree and being able to study in English is very attractive to them. So they decide to study to study nursing. Sorry. At the moment, they can do it at both levels. There is bachelor level and master level, both offered in English. Secondly, there is midwifery, so also a medical program, currently offered only on bachelor level. Then there is beauty science, a degree popular especially, well, among different nationalities, but especially among young ladies from Ukraine. They find it very attractive, and they choose it a lot. Then there is physiotherapy, which is the only 5-year long cycle master program. So students who decide to study physiotherapy, they come to VPU for 5 years and they go straight for master's degree. It has been popular among different nationalities, but last year a numerous group of students from France actually took it up. So they found out this opportunity to save some money, because once again the tuition fee is much lower than the one in France. So we have quite a numerous group of students from France. Next, there is tourism and hospitality management, a program taught at both levels and popular among people from various countries. And finally, there is business, again, taught at both bachelor and master level. As you might expect, the creation of the English path of studies required setting up a unit within a university that would look after all the academic matters of the English-speaking students. So with that purpose in mind, the Department of Studies in English was set up in 2019 and took over all the duties of the dean's offices. So the department is the place where English-speaking students can check their grades, can collect their certificates, they can deal with any educational problems that they might be facing. And of course, the official language of the department that is used by all employees is English. Yeah? So students are very welcome there. There is no linguistic barrier whatsoever. Another important unit that was created with international students in mind was the Academic Center for Foreign Languages and Certification. It was noticed that many students who come to Poland would like to learn Polish, with a view of finding a job there, with a view of staying there after graduation. In Poland, without being able to speak Polish at least a bit, it's very difficult. So, of course, every curriculum does contain a language module, so all our English-speaking students have to learn Polish for 4 semesters at least, but for many people it wasn't enough. Some students declared that they would obtain some sort of official language certificate, some sort of diploma that they could include in their CVs. So the center was meant to meet all those needs. So the center organizes foreign language courses, Polish, but also English, German, and other languages. And last year, the center also obtained the right to organize Polish language exams, state exams, which have already proven very popular. And in the picture, here on the slide, you can see candidates waiting for one such exam that actually took place in March. Other institutional changes include, for example, the introduction of multilingual administration in every department of the university. So many people working at VPU in administration speak more than one language. Very often these are Polish, English, and Russian or Ukrainian. So basically the idea is that wherever a student goes at the university, they will not face any barriers, right? Be it accounting department, being the planning department, being the rectorate's office, everywhere there has to be a person who will be able to help them in English. The university even organizes free language courses for the staff to prepare them to deal with international students. The next aspect that is meant to improve the quality of studying are translators and interpreters that have been employed to help students if they encounter any linguistic barriers. This is especially important for physiotherapy and nursing students who have to do many hours of practical training in hospitals and clinics. So basically, they have to work with patients who not necessarily speak English. So the university always provides an interpreter, a person who goes with them and helps in such situations. So depending on the needs of a moment, there are between 20 and 30 interpreters assisting students every day during their practical classes and practical training. International students can also use various types of counseling, legal advice. Many of them, for example, complained about the psychological strain caused by the fact that, well, they live and stay so far away from home. So as a result, the university decided to run psychological help for them, so they are able to find counseling at the university. It is also possible to find legal advice, so we have a lawyer who's there to assist students, for example, with setting up a business. They often try to do business in Poland. And also they help them with visa issues, with temporary residence issues. And last but not least, there is the library, which you can see in the picture. And it has been rapidly increasing its collection of volumes in English, also with a view of international students, English-speaking students using them. Now, let us move on to students themselves and how the university tries to become their home away from home, so to speak. And of course, the most important in this respect are various activities, student activities that they may be involved in. And the first place here, of course, falls to the International Students Union, which is a body run by international students for international students, which is supposed to represent them and serve as a platform for cooperation and organization of various projects. So when students have an idea, they show initiative, they want to do something, they go to the ISU representatives who then get in touch with the authorities, discuss the possibility of organizing it, running it, and eventually, very often, it works, right? So this is a platform for them to do whatever they want to do at the university. And the history of ISU actually began with a project called It's Good to be a Polyglot. And the aim of the project was to popularize foreign language learning among young people. So our students were invited to high schools, have been invited to high schools, where they gave presentations about their countries, about their languages, about their cultures. Language workshops were also organized. So basically, our students went to high schools and interacted with the students there. The project has become actually quite famous in the area. So now we receive invitations, many invitations a year from various schools that would like to see our students coming and, practicing English with students and trying to motivate them to learn foreign languages. And, it has also received very positive feedback from the students themselves. So they really appreciate the opportunity to go and see new places, to meet with other people, and gain valuable experience, because for them it's also quite a valuable experience to be able to speak to a big group of people. Even if they are high school students, it's still something that they want and they value. So here you can see pictures from a few hour trips. Happy students, happy pupils, happy teachers. Everybody was happy. International Students Union also organizes the so-called International Christmas and Easter parties, where apart from tasting traditional dishes, students talk about the ways in which those holidays are celebrated in their countries. So in the slide, you can see some photos from our last Christmas party, which was a huge success. Many students attended, not only English-speaking students, but also students from Ukraine and Belarus. Like I said, quite a popular event, which I'm sure is going to become annual event. And here a few pictures from the Easter party. Well, the idea here was very similar. Students would meet together, show some presentations, discuss the traditions of celebrating Easter in various countries, and then, of course, they would sample some traditional Polish cuisine. Thanks to international students, Vincent Pol University can also boast many successes in sports. In the first picture here, you can see our academic rugby team, which is extremely successful in Polish League of Rugby. They normally win their games with a difference of 50 points or more, and the record was 108 to 0. So they are really very good. And on the right-hand side, there is our student basketball team, which has also been very successful in various competitions. And it is clearly seen in both pictures that all key players, they do not come from Poland, do they? The university also helps students to organize various religious meetings, events. Here, for example, you can see pictures from a gospel festival that took place last year. And but it's not only Christian. Our Muslim students also have an opportunity to meet in a designated room at the university to do their prayers. A very important addition to the academic calendar are graduation ceremonies happening at the end of every semester. So each graduation is actually a very big event with all the university authorities participating, as well as numerous guests from all over the world. This is something that our students from Africa brought with them. They always expect grand ceremonies at the end. Yeah? So they even book their own venues, they prepare special decorations and performances, they invite literally hundreds of people from all over the world, especially from Africa, but also their sponsors from Great Britain, from Canada, from Australia. So the events are actually very, very grand. Here are just a few pictures taken during the last graduation. And finally, let me tell you about two events that are going to take place very soon. The first one is the Africa Day, that is going to be celebrated in the city center on the 25th of May. So if you are free, you can come and join us in Lublin. It's going to be a big open-air event with concerts and culinary workshops. There's going to be a fashion show, a discussion panel as well, many other attractions. And like I said, it's organized in cooperation with the city. Yeah? So Lublin as a city is helping us and supporting us as well. And the second poster advertises a student conference that is going to take place in June. And the topic, as you can see, is the languages and cultures of VPU. So here, the idea is to allow our students to get to know each other, to share information about their countries and their cultures in the form of a more academic form, let's say. So, to sum up, multinational and multilingual academic environment is a great asset of Vincent Pol University. We presented, it's our pride and joy actually, and the fact that we have students from so many different countries and makes us a unique place to study actually. But its development required major changes at all levels of the functioning of the university. So major changes have had to be introduced, but I believe they have been introduced successfully. Thank you very much for your attention, and now I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you. How do you recruit international students, and how do you motivate them to study at VPU? Well, first it was a very direct recruitment procedure, so we would go to those countries. Always, the first step was always to find a partner in a given country. So in Ukraine, it was the Rivne University. In Great Britain, it was the University of Northampton. And they took us to Asia, basically. And in Africa, we cooperated with a university in Kenya, with the Nairobi University. And we always start with that. And then various recruitment efforts are taken. Yeah? So we organize our own education fairs. We go there. We've been a few times to Africa already, many times in Asia as well. So, and of course we have our agents. We cooperate with agents who are there and who, well, spread the news about the university and make it possible for prospective students to learn more about the programs. And they also help students with admissions procedure, which can be tricky, especially when it comes to visa issues and visa procedures. So it's always good to have people there who are able to help prospective students in this respect. How do you motivate them to study? Well, we don't need to motivate them. They want to do it themselves. And what is crucial here in this respect is, of course, the price. The tuition fees are much lower than in other countries, EU countries, especially Great Britain. And when we run a survey among students asking them, why did you decide to come to Poland? Because many of them, hadn't even known about Poland, right? Our first trips to Africa were more focused on the country than the university. We had to tell them that there is a country called Poland. It's located in Europe. It's part of the EU. And there are universities. You can go and study there. So once they learned it, they find out that it's much cheaper. And the result is actually the same because they get an EU degree. So they value it a lot. Okay. How many countries is the VPU degree valid in? All the European Union countries. Yeah, so it's a degree the same as any EU degree. Does VPU do something with the languages students speak? Any courses of these languages, language cultures, clubs? Not yet, to be honest. Those students, they team up, basically. Yeah. So if we have many students speaking Shona, they very often, share accommodation, for example, and they use it amongst themselves. Now, this conference that we are going to have in June, the Languages and Cultures of VPU, we do hope that it is going to spark new initiatives. For example, where we would like our Shona-speaking students to run Shona language course for other students who might be interested in that. And of course, they get an opportunity, possibility to talk about their languages and cultures during those multiple meetings that we organize in high schools and other places. How do you make the international students participate in the events, as it isn't always easy? What's your budget for event organization? Depends on the project. All the events that I mentioned today are voluntary, basically. So there is an idea, students have an idea, they share it with the ISU, and then the ISU puts it on paper and shares it with the authorities. And of course they include the budget, the planned budget. And then the authorities decide, okay, it sounds good, sounds attractive, we want to do it, and they assign the proper amount of money. So students are never forced to do anything. Yeah? ISU is voluntary, 100% voluntary. If they want to, they can come. Normally they do want to come. Yeah? They are very interested and curious. So those Christmas meetings and Easter meetings, the attendance was actually very, very, very high. And the budget, like I said, it differs and it depends on the event and the activities that are going to take place. Are there summer programs for the general public to come and learn or improve their Polish? Yes, of course. There are Polish language courses organized by the Academic Center. Details can be found on our website, or today when we are going to attend the expo. You can find out more. But yes, there are many courses of various length with various objectives. Yeah? So there are crash courses like survival Polish courses, and there are also longer courses preparing students to take the state exams. Like the final and the most important thing that can be achieved is the Polish state certificate confirming the knowledge of Polish. And actually many students want to do it. Because this certificate allows them to take up studies in Polish, not only in English. How many interinstitutional agreements does VPU have? How many exchange students do you have per semester? A lot. Like I said, Erasmus, we've been always very active when it comes to Erasmus, and it has helped us establish connections with various institutions. So all our trips to Africa even, they were under the Erasmus brand. I don't know the exact number, so I don't want to lie to you in any way, but I can say that it is a lot. And also the university accepts between 40 and 50 exchange students every year. So many of them come to study here. They found VPU attractive because they have courses taught in English. So in other universities in Poland, it is difficult. If you study, physiotherapy, it's difficult to find a university where you could do a semester of physiotherapy in English. All of them teach in Polish. But if they come to VPU, they can do all the classes that their curriculum requires them to do, but they can do it in English. So they don't have to make up for it after the exchange. Do you know if students generally look for work in Poland, Europe, after graduating, or do they usually go back home? Yes, they do. They do look for work. In Poland, it's quite difficult actually for them because there is the language barrier. If they are professionals, nurses, for example, to gain the right to practice in Poland, they have to show the language certificate. So that's why some of them decide to take the state exam, but many of them, well, they fail to master Polish to such level. So many of them decide to leave Poland after their studies. They go to Great Britain, for instance. Canada and Australia are also popular. Another reason, well, of course, these are English-speaking countries, yeah, so they have no problems in terms of the language spoken there. And also, many our students have sponsors. So, for example, an aunt or a sister or brother who had already moved to Great Britain, and they work there, and they pay for the studies. And then they, well, invite their cousins to the country and work, and they find employment there. Do they usually go back home? Very often they do as well. Yeah, so if they have no alternative, or if they want to, sometimes they really want to. Many of them have families also back homes. So they come here, they improve their qualifications, and they decide to go back to whatever country they came from. Is it common for Polish universities to offer courses in English? Not in 100%. So in many state universities, the courses, they have modules. Individual modules can be taught in English, but not the whole courses. That makes VPU attractive for exchange students because they can come and they can do their 30 ECTS points studying their, the modules that are necessary for them. Yeah? Whereas at other universities, well, it may not be that easy. Yeah? But it's becoming more and more popular, actually. Universities do see an opportunity there, and they do develop their English courses too. How high a level of Polish is typically attained by the foreign students on English medium courses? Depends on the person. I know people who, well, are able to communicate in Polish nowadays. But, well, Polish is difficult for them, especially at the beginning. It takes getting used to, let's say. Most of them don't get past the A2 level. But like I said, it's not a rule. Yeah? The more motivated ones, the ones who do want to stay in Poland, for example, after graduation, they reach higher levels. And the best motivator actually is love. So the students who really learn Polish quite well, they usually have a partner. They find a boyfriend or girlfriend in Poland, so they learn Polish with them. In the Netherlands, we are drastically reducing the amount of international students. We see a rapid decline in available professors. How is the situation at VPU? Well, the numbers have been increasing, but recently, unfortunately, the visa issues are quite a problem. So our students started facing difficulties. It stems from the political situation in Poland, which was not very favorable. There were some problems in the embassies. So at the moment, the numbers, well, last year, the number actually fell, and it fell quite drastically. But we do hope by opening new markets, looking for people in Europe, for example. That's why we have those students, from France. They also learned about the university. We have our representative in France as well, who represents us there. So we hope to open for new markets. But yes, the situation, the numbers, well, have been increasing, and the situation has been very good. But now, well, we fear that it might change indeed. Yes. Is it difficult to get the visa to study in Poland? Nowadays, I have to say that yes, it is becoming more and more difficult. The students have to, they always had to do it, but now they have to provide a detailed account of their finances. So they have to pay for 1 year of studies in advance. They have to show that they have a certain amount on their accounts. They have to prove their educational backgrounds, so there are they have to come with certain grades. So not everybody can apply for it. They also have to provide the whole history of education. Yeah, so people with unexplained blank gaps in their CVs, especially older people, well, they may face difficulties. Yeah, so the interviews at the embassies, well, can be tricky for some. So it's not the easiest process. That's why it's important to have a good good person, good representative in a given country. Somebody who knows the country, knows the reality there, and helps with all the procedures. Yeah, so that's something that we've also learned in the process. Yeah, that students very often cannot do it themselves. They need somebody to assist them. You are not experiencing a decline of academic professors due to their workload, academic research and teaching? Actually not, because VPU has been focused on teaching mostly. It has not been a very strong academic institution. Now it's changing slightly. We have a new rector, and the new rector is putting stronger emphasis on science too. But so far it has been mostly teaching, and professors, the staff, focused on teaching mostly. And when we found a person, for example, especially in the medical fields, when we found a person who was ready, I don't know, a nurse, especially with a degree, with a higher degree, let's say a PhD or a professor, we did all it takes to get this person and make them work with us. And they actually have always been very satisfied because they could teach as much as they wanted. And that, of course, well, led to them being the financial satisfaction as well. Yes. So actually, no, we haven't experienced very sharp decline in the number of professors. The ones that did start with us, they continue, and the new ones will keep being searched, let's say, and employed. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for all your questions.
Thank you very much, and see you after the break.